Good little guitar solo for your Sunday morning. So good. Thanks, Lockie, and thanks for it's so good having a rock star in our very own church to take advantage of when we have a brand new series. So good. Good morning to you brave Sunshine Coast souls who have managed to get out of bed this morning. Freezing Arctic temperatures, and here you are. So well done to you this morning. And hello to you online as well that are not so brave and perhaps doing a doona day because it's 6 degrees outside. I saw when I jumped on just before, there's a nurse that just did night shift, people with sick kids at home, and so good that we can bring church to you when it works out that way when life just, online's the better option. But so good, so pleased to be sharing with you this morning. My name's Chloe, my husband and I, Jonathan, are the lead pastors of this community. And today we are launching a brand new series called Let's Talk. And let's be honest, most of us probably have no issues with this area. You know, talking kind of is something that just comes naturally to us. We learn how to walk, we learn how to eat, and we learn how to talk. There's a period of our life when we're little babies where our brain is shaped and we actually learn English language or, you know, whatever language we're a part of. Our little baby daughter, she's 10 months old at the moment, so her brain's at that stage, so she's saying mama and dada and hello, and yesterday she goes to me, hello, Mama. And it was so sweet. So she's at that really cute age where her brain is starting to learn. So it's just amazing how words are just something so ingrained in us. We use our words to discipline. We use our words to teach. We use our words to create theories. We verbalize our thoughts. We're creative with our words. You know, that is how we communicate, and we just do it so instinctively and so naturally. And I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things to do is I just love snooping, and I love listening in on other people's conversations and thoughts. I just think it's so fascinating. I love to just sit back and just hear how people interact with one another. And it turns out a lot of people are like me, because there is like hundreds of Instagram accounts called Overheard In, and pretty much every city, every major city in every country has an Overheard In, because we say funny things. And so someone will be sitting and listening, and they'll hear something so funny that it gets written in, and someone will create a graphic for it. So I've got a few Overheard In this morning. This is how people using their words. I'm kind of glad I'm not creative. I'm just a simple person. And when I was watching Lockie up there, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad I'm not a creative person too. I'd rather just be a simple person. Okay, what do we have next? What are some Overheard In? Overheard in Waterloo, Australia. This weekend, we need to pay some serious attention to our plants. Do we have any plant parents here? Very good. I'm not a plant parent. I'm a plant killer. Next one. Over to New York. This is for the mums, I think. You know what they say, tonight's mascara, if you get time to put mascara on, can be tomorrow's smoky eye. Overheard in New York. Very nice. And last one. I can't pick up the pace, I only go one pace. And this was in Coolum, so maybe that was on Mount Coolum. That would be funny, but I feel like that would be me. But we say funny things with our words. We use our words to interact with one another, and we have thoughts that we verbalize, and all of us in this room, we have words that we say. And I'm sure as well, though, sometimes you've had things that you haven't said, and that you wish you said, and you've said that statement, I wish I'd said this. And maybe you've been in like a job interview or something, and someone asks you a question, and you walk out, and 5 minutes later, the perfect answer comes to you, and you're like, why didn't I give that answer? Or maybe you're in a debate with someone, you're passionately debating your stance, they're passionately debating their stance, and then at like 2 a.m., you're like, whoa, that's the perfect reply, why didn't I say that? Or maybe someone's like slinging mud at you. And then you come with the perfect comeback as you're going to sleep. And I wish I'd said this. Why didn't I say this? Or this injustice was happening. I saw this injustice happening and I did nothing about it. I wish I'd said this. Or conversely, I'm sure you've thought this before as well. I wish they'd said. I wish they'd said this. You know, we have loved ones and we see them traveling through something and you're like, oh, I wish you just told me this sooner. I wish you'd said something sooner to someone. We could have stopped this at this cause. I'm sure you've seen people in your life do that. If only they had talked sooner, this could have been made so much easier for them. You know, we've all done it. We all know it. We've all had both of these thoughts. And how many of the time, we're so great at using our words, but so often problems or situations or scenarios or molehills become mountains because of our lack of words, because we don't actually talk in time. We don't raise issues until we're in too deep. Things that could have been tempered at a root cause are enabled and allowed to grow because of our lack of words. And they just grow and grow and grow and grow. That could have been yanked out at the very beginning through talking continues to grow, and we have a reluctance to talk about some things sometimes, don't we? We're happy to talk. Apparently, research shows that we spend 80% of our time talking about others, and pretty much our talking consists of a summary of our thought processes. But so often it's what we're not saying could be just the thing that helps us in the moment. That habit, addictions, marriage issues, struggles, things that we're facing, the very, very real things in life. If only we'd talk. We have a lot to say, we just don't always talk in time. And sometimes our lack of words at the right moment cause us the most personal strife. So, we need to talk. And, I've been in ministry now for about 7 years, I think, full-on ministry kind of capacity, and it's such a real privilege to be in this position. In this position, we see a lot of people's stories, and we hear a lot of things come across our desk because our organization, its fundamental objective is helping people. And so when you're in the objective of helping people, you hear a lot of stories, and so you sort of look for common threads. Okay, well, what sort of gets people in personal strife? If we want to help, then how can we help them way back here? And a common thread that we see time and time and time again in different scenarios is if only they had talked sooner. If only they'd opened up about this thing sooner. If only they'd brought this thing to someone in their life sooner. Things could be so different to them. And we get ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in the mud just because of a lack of willingness to talk about those things. And it's human, I'm human, I get it, I do it too. So I guess, I said, I wish, you've said, I wish I'd said, and I wish they'd say, but I guess I'd say to you that I wish that you would talk. I wish that you would talk about the things that you're going through at the right time, because I know it would be so different for you. And I wish that you would talk about the things that you avoid talking about, because they're probably exactly the thing that you should be talking about. And Jesus was apt at getting to the heart of the matter. And thankfully, we're not alone. Thankfully, there is hope. And we're going to look this morning to learn and get some inspiration from an ancient problem that we can insert then our modern day problems, and how Jesus tackled a guy who seemingly had a reluctance to change. He had a lot going in his life. And we're going to look at how Jesus sort of guided him and what Jesus had to say to him, and how we encountered this. So different problems, but same Jesus. And so we're reading from a story in the Bible in one of the Gospels called John. And John is one of the 4 Gospels. And the Gospels are really cool because they actually give an eyewitness account of Jesus' time when he was on earth. So it's kind of like a live from the scene sort of thing. And John is my favorite of all of the Gospels. I love it. And so Jesus has been out doing his ministry, and we pick up where he is returning to Jerusalem. There was a feast of the Jews. All of the Jewish men would get called in to Jerusalem for these 3 feasts that happens. And Jesus, being a good Jewish boy, he's coming back to Jerusalem. So he's been out after these things. He's been out doing ministry, and then he's coming back into Jerusalem. Now, in Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, there was a pool, which in Hebrew, Bethesda? I don't know if any of you do this, but my brain automatically makes up my own words when I read something that I can't pronounce. So I've got my own word for this. And so if I say Bathsheba, that's because what my brain made it automatically, because I couldn't pronounce it. And then I was reading it the other day, and I'm like, I totally just made that up. I do that for everything, so I apologize for everything I pronounce wrong. I've just made it up in my head because I can't pronounce it. Bethesda, did you say? Bethesda. Nice. Okay, cool. Having 4 porticos. So we're fighting at a pool. So there's a big pool there with porticos. And what they actually say at this pool is they were waiting for an angel of the Lord who came down in certain seasons in the pool and stirred up the water. So these guys are waiting. Oh, it says it there. Perfect. Okay. In these lay, it didn't have it in my other version. Sorry, go back one. Sorry, my bad. In these laid a multitude of those who were sick, lame, and withered, waiting for the movement of the waters. For an angel of the Lord went down at certain seasons in the pool and stirred up the water. Thank you very much. Whoever then first, after stirring up of the water, stepped in, was made well. So they're kind of like, a waiting line, and so it wouldn't be constantly bubbling. They'd have to wait for that moment, and then, it's kind of like you're it. So I guess like first in, best dressed, right? First in, first healed. Whoever then first after stirring was made well from whatever disease with which he was afflicted. A man was there who had been ill for 38 years. That's a long time, nearly 4 decades. It's older than me. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew he had already been a long time in that condition, he said to him, "Do you wish to get well?" It's kind of a weird question. Like, if you were outside the Sunshine Coast Hospital emergency department and you're on the gutter and you have a broken leg and a doctor in their white coat comes up to you and says, "Hey, do you wish to get well?" You'd be so insulted by that. Like, "No, Jesus, I'm just here for the view. The ambulances, they're amazing. And the hospital with sick people all around. What a positive environment this is. No, I'm just here for the fun of it. No, of course I'm here to get well. Like, bring me inside." It would be ludicrous for a doctor to come up to you and see you in that condition and ask you, "Do you wish to get well?" So, Jesus, hello, you don't say that to someone. If you kind of like really like socially inappropriate, it seems so uncompassionate. It kind of seems really quite rude, actually. You don't go up to someone that's clearly paralyzed and ask them a condescending question. "Do you wish to get well?" "Oh, Jesus, that's not okay. You can't say that." Okay, but let's just back up a bit. So we know that Jesus is intentional with his words. And we know that Jesus is also part God. So it's probably safe to assume that part God is a little bit smarter than just, asking a brusque, horrible, cultural question. So with that question, "Do you wish to get well?" what's Jesus really asking by it? Let's take a look at the guy to work out maybe what Jesus is saying. So this guy, we read, has been in this condition for 38 years. A really, 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 really long time. Not only that, this guy's been a regular at the pool. He knows enough about it to know how it works, and he knows enough about it that he's despaired, that he's never found his chance. It's been a really long time that he's just been hanging around this pool with lots and lots and lots of sick people, so he's a regular to this area. This has become as well, we can assume, for 38 years, that's become a whole way of life for him. When you've been living with something for 38 years, that just becomes who you are. That's normal. He didn't know anything different. So 38 years, that just becomes a way of life of living or something. Life on the mat, paralyzed. And when you've been doing something for 38 years and it becomes a way of life, it also becomes then your identity. So knowing all of this, knowing all of these things here, what was Jesus actually asking with the question, "Do you wish to be made well?" And what was he getting at? You see, I think we're a lot like this guy. We can see ourselves as this guy a lot. When we get so used to the feeling of being lame that we don't even realize that we're lame anymore. We get so used to our quirks, our dysfunctions, our bad habits, our way of thinking, that we don't even realize that we're paralyzed by it anymore because it's just who we are. We are this guy. We are this guy. And I know that we are this guy because I know that I'm this guy too. I can lay on my mat of pity like nobody's business. I get down in the dumps and things are out of my control and, just being bam, 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 like life does. Sweet, I'm on my mat. See you, Johns, tapping out. I'm just going to lie down on my mat for a while, and he'll come along and be like, "Okay, time to get up." And when stuff hits you, it's okay to have a period of time where you're emotional about it, but when it starts paralyzing you, that's when it's affecting your life. And I can justify, oh my goodness, can I justify why I need to be on my mat? No. I've been hard done by. This person said this thing to me. Did you hear what they said? That's not okay. I can be on my mat. I'm happy to lay on my mat. I am this guy. I know what life on a mat feels like, and I'm sure you have at one point in your life or another, or maybe you're on a mat right now. Maybe you're on a mat of sorts right now. We're numb to our pain, our insecurities, our fears, our limitations that we don't even know if we want to get healed anymore. And some of you in this room, you'll have something in mind. You will. You'll have something in this mind. And some of you are going to be, and I say all this with love. I truly do. This is a very pastoral kind of conversation. And some of you will be numb to it, that you've just adapted to it. My Nana, bless her heart, she's gorgeous. She's 91. It's really funny. My Nana's, so she's, you know how, like, I guess when you're my age, you're always like rounding down. So I'm 33 now, but I'm on the other end of 33. So I could, I'm kind of 32-ish, like you start getting the ish ages and, not really like doing, when you're a young kid, you're like so eager to grow up. Like if I'm 14, when's my birthday? I'm like close to my 14, I'm 15. And it's really funny because Nana hit this point where she starts to like round up her age. So now I forget her actual age because she always rounds it up. So she always like goes to the next age. So Nana is actually 91, but she'll tell you she's 92 just because she's like rounding up because like that's awesome. Like I'm hitting like the big leagues here of age. Anyway, Nana, bless her heart, she grew up. She's seen a lot. She was born in like 1930. Would that work? Yeah, 1930. I'm not great with my maths. She was born in 1930, so she's seen a lot of life. Life was very different in 1930 when she was born, and so she came out of, World War II and saw all that take place, and she also lived through an age and time called the Depression, which was exactly as it sounds. It was just depressing. It wasn't a great time. And honestly, we think now, like when things are bad and my goodness, everything's sort of a bit uncertain around us. And then you kind of look back in history and go, wow, they went through that. That was kind of a crazy time where food was scarce, where jobs were scarce. A lot of the men had died in the war. And so it was a really difficult time where you had to forage for food. And, the height of luxury would be chickens that you have and, like producing your own food. So Nana lived in this period of time where it was a real struggle and resources were scarce. And so it's amazing how that has shaped her worldview going on from that period of time. And we had Nana's 90th birthday last year. That's correct, yeah, last year. And all she wanted for her birthday, for her food, was like ready meals. So she wants like a roast chicken, but from Woolworths, like the ones that come in the little bag. And that's all she wants for her birthday. And I'm like, Mum, come on, please. Like, I can make her, I make a really nice lemon butter roast chicken. I can make her one from scratch. It's like rosemary in it. It's so good. Like, please just let me make it. Like, I don't want to give her a chicken from Woolworths on her 90th birthday. Like, she deserves more than that. It's all she wants. It's all she wants. And like those little Sara Lee, like, packet cakes, like they come, you buy in the frozen section. That's all she wants for her birthday is those, because those for her is the height of luxury because she lived in the Depression. And that's what she brought with her through the Depression. It changed her. And she's just so numb to it now. Food has adapted. There's amazing things available to us, like incredible foods. But give her that and she is happy as anything. That stuffing, that's just amazing. That's the height for her. And it's really, really, really sweet. And I'm so grateful that Nana living through the Depression, that's the thing that came with her. Because there's a whole lot more that could have came through that period of time with her. But that came with her is just that food thing. And it's just amazing how you just can get through a situation or something happened to you. And it keeps carrying it with you and carrying it with you that you don't even realize that you're doing it anymore. And it takes Jesus coming along, asking that important, pressing, important question that he would pose to you today as well. Do you wish to be made well? Do you wish to be made well? Do you actually want to heal? And then do you want the responsibility that comes with that change? Do you want life as you've known it and known it to change? And do you realize that label that you're carrying around, that piece of your identity that is now just ingrained, are you willing to give that up? Will you give up the sympathy? Will you give up the dopamine hit that comes when you look at that thing? You see, with this question, Jesus wasn't just asking, do you wish to be made well? Do you want to heal? He's actually really asking, do you actually want to heal? Do you actually want to change? Because it has more implications. And on the surface level, we go, okay, yeah, sure, of course I want to heal. But really, there's so much more to us. And some of us, and I know I do this all the time, can cling on to these things because I don't know, actually, that's giving up something. And giving up sometimes can actually be harder than the healing. So maybe there was more to this question that Jesus was asking. And maybe it's just more complicated than a surface level. And maybe we're more complicated than that as well. And in this modern day context, we sub out the part of being physically paralyzed, and we can so easily sub in matters of the heart and the head, which have the ability to keep us paralyzed too. So what are you paralyzed with? What are you lying on a mat in a sense with? And you watch others jump into the pool ahead of you, and you can be held back by excuses and a lack of willingness to change, avoiding the perceived indignity of a conversation that seems easier than dealing with our stuff. So what are you lying on your mat with? What would you be dealing with that Jesus would be asking you, do you actually want to change? And in this guy's answer, it's cool, because this guy answers just like we would. He says this, he says, "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. And while I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." Essentially, this guy answers and goes, here's the reasons why change isn't possible for me. I can't talk about this, and here is my reasons why. They'll judge me. Everyone will find out. It makes me weak. I'm a guy, and guys don't talk about this. It's embarrassing. It will burden others. It's easier to sweep it under the rug. I'm a mature Christian, and I should know better than that. I'm a mature Christian, and I should be able to cope. And can I just pause on that for a second? Because I think that can be one of the biggest lies told to us and one of the biggest barriers that come in place of us actually accessing help that we need. I consider myself a mature Christian. I've been a Christian my whole life now, and so that's 33 years of walking with Jesus in different seasons, in my childhood seasons, my teenage seasons, young adult seasons, and now as a mother and as a wife. And I know too well, sometimes my faith can be a barrier to me accessing help because really it's a little bit of a facade, of a bravery, of a pride of, well, I can't really be following Jesus if I'm dealing with this stuff. And honestly, my favorite people, my heroes, my mentors aren't the ones that put on a brave face when stuff hits them and still go, it's all good. It'll all be good. My heroes, my favorite people are the ones that go, I'm struggling. And I'm going to let you know that I'm struggling. I'm going to let you know that this is tough because I'm human, I'm alive, and I think God knows that you're human. God knows that you're alive, and God knows that stuff gets piled on top of you. And it's okay to have a human response to human things happening to you because we are human after all. But it's when it becomes a problem when we go, I'm a mature Christian, so I just need to ignore that because otherwise that's not having faith. And I know it because I've done that before, and I know it because I've seen people do that before. And I know it can be a lie that's told to us that really stops us going, yeah, I want to be made well. Don't air your dirty laundry can be, here's the reason why I can't help. We don't air our dirty laundry. And I think as well, even as a mother, I found that a lot too. Don't air my, I need to have the guys, I'm a working woman, I'm hustling, I'm busy, I've got it all together. And that facade that I want to give off, man, that can be something that really hinders me personally, I tell you. She'll be right as a sign of bravery. Oh gosh, good old Aussies, hey. Comfort zones, so I've got to stay in my comfort zone, can't go outside my comfort zone. The guise of the busy and hustle, which kind of we redirect. I'm not going great in my marriage, but I'm going to redirect all my attention to my work life because I can kill it there. I can deal with this on my own. And the lie of I don't need help. So what's on your mat? And what do we do about it? We talk. We talk. Because conversation can be one of the biggest catalysts for change in our lives. See, the guy here, he believed that these pools were the vehicle to his healing. You know, he was so close to these pools. Like, he would be able to smell that water. He was just lying around. He could literally see it. He could almost touch it. It was so close yet so far. It's a surreal picture. And it's little wonder why Jesus asked him that question when he was so close to what he perceived his healing to be. Do you actually wish to be made well? And some of you are lying here on a mat, and the pool in this example is that conversation that you need to have. You may be lying on a mat, and it's right there in front of you, but it's just taking that step. Do you wish to be made well? And we see in Jesus' response here to the guy's reasoning as why he can't be healed, an action. It's really interesting because Jesus didn't say, boom, you're healed, hop up. Here's what Jesus said. So the guy's lying on his mat here, giving Jesus his excuses, and Jesus just says to him this, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. At once, the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. I love that it wasn't Jesus saying, hey, it's okay, or, you know, Jesus didn't plonk himself on the mat with him and have a chat. He said, get up. He didn't say you're healed and get up. He said, get up. He gave him something to do. He made him move to get his healing. He tells him to stand. He gave him an action. And some of you need to talk to start your journey of being made well. Some of you need to talk to start your journey of change. You know, I love the idea of Are You Okay Day. I'm sure you've all heard of that. So it's, you know, a day in the year where everyone is essentially given permission to ask the people around them, hey, are you actually doing okay? And then you have the permission to actually go, actually, I'm not doing okay. I love that it's a day where really this is showcase having meaningful, vulnerable conversations that activate change in our lives. And we all have the need for this. I remember early on in my ministry journey, and man, that was a wild ride, right? And everything had just kind of felt like had been piled on. Just piled on. And it was personal, and it was heart-wrenching, and just, you know, there was just so much. And I think I was only like 26, young, bright-eyed, and like, whoa. And it got to that point where I thought, I don't actually know if I'm doing so good anymore. I don't know if I'm dealing with this in a healthy kind of way. And so I was kind of just stewing on stuff, and then I got to the point where maybe I should talk to someone about this. So I text my really good friend and an elder in this church. Her name's Alison, and we've been close ever since I was like in grade 9 or something like that. And so I text Alison. And who knows, sometimes as well, just even taking that first step of texting someone is the hardest step, because that step is acknowledging it's not just like a internal monologue kind of thing. It's kind of like that acknowledgement of like, hey, actually, I think I need to do something about that. And I think that first step of just taking that initiative can actually be the hardest one to take in the first place. So I text Alison and I said, can we catch up? Even just that, I'm like, and then it starts going through your head after that, like, oh, she's going to think I'm disqualified for this job and I shouldn't even be in it. She's going to laugh at me. She's going to really scold me. I'm going to get in trouble from her. And so anyway, and she's not even like that. She's the loveliest person. We've got a good relationship. You know, and I think as well in this too, it's not who you talk to. It's not, you know, talking to an echo chamber of I've told 15 different people my problem. But if they're the wrong 15 people your problem, then you may just be in an unhealthy echo chamber loop. And you know, this guy here, he was with all of the sick people, the multitudes of sick people. Can you imagine how unhealthy that would have been? Day in, day out, you're surrounded by just hopelessness. Oh, it's not going to happen for you. It's like, yeah, good luck. It would just be such a toxic environment to be in. So who you text is so important. Just someone that you love, someone that matters to you, someone that you know, okay, I'm coming to you with the intent to change, because I can go and talk to someone with the same problem, and they might just affirm my problem and be like, it's okay, Chloe. It's them, not you. But going to someone with the intent to change and actually being brave and going, okay, I may get in trouble, but I know it's for my betterment. I know it's for my health. So anyway, I took a brave step. I text Alison. We caught up. And I'm not going to share about what I talked about, because then that's like just solving my point of going for sympathy grabs right here, isn't it? But I talked to her about how I was struggling and the things that I was dealing with and the thoughts going through my head that I thought was a little bit going crazy. And you know what she said? Gosh, that's so normal. No, that's okay. Do you want some strategy of how to deal with this maybe? Because I was out of my depth. But I linked my resources to hers, and it's amazing. I went away from that conversation feeling lighter. I went away from that conversation feeling qualified again, and like, it's okay. It's okay. And we often have this internal monologue, and sometimes just having a conversation, we need to stop what's going through our head over and over and over again and outsource that. So let's circle back to that all-important question that Jesus posed. That's stubborn. That's seemingly rude. That's such an uncompassionate question Jesus asked. Do you wish to be made well? Why did Jesus ask this? Really? Why did Jesus ask this question to a guy who was hopeless and living in despair and a little bit negative? He was building up hope. He was instilling hope in the guy. He'd been devoid of it for so long. So with this question, he's asking so much more than just, do you want to be healed? He's igniting a flicker of hope again. And we look in the Jewish, in the Hebrew word for hope, because Jesus used this in this example. So what was Jesus? When he was igniting hope, what was he doing? And the Hebrew word, for hope is tikva. Tikva, cute little word. And it describes a piece of rope twined together, designed to help carry a heavy load. Hope is something to cling onto to help us carry the heavy load. Hope allows you to do something difficult. And hope comes when someone comes alongside you to carry the load with you. You're not doing it alone anymore. Think of that, a piece of rope, it's twined together to help carry a heavy load. And when Jesus was asking, do you wish to be made well, and giving him hope, he was igniting that. Hey, let's talk. Let's talk. But the hard thing is you have to have the conversation first. And we see the heart of Jesus here towards us, for us not to stay in our muck, our stuff. And the story finishes a little bit later with Jesus finding the guy in the temple. And obviously as a response, he's come out to the temple as well. He's overwhelmed with what's happened to him. He's been made well. And he comes out to the temple. So Jesus found him at the temple and said to him, see, you are well again. Stop sinning or something worse may happen to you. Jesus leaves him well. Jesus leaves him whole. Jesus leaves him complete. The heart of Jesus is not for us just to lay down in our stuff, and Jesus comes alongside us and sits down in our stuff with us. He wants to see us prosper. He doesn't want to see us paralyzed and stuck in situation and stuck down in the depths of despair and hopelessness and in this unhelpful echo chamber of life. He wants to see us brought up off our mat and stand up, not paralyzed anymore, not held back by the things of life that are happening to us, not held back by our negative thought processes, not held back by the situations that happen to us, and then we sit down in a mat of despair and pity, like we are known to do. Behold, you've become well. You know, we all need to talk at some stage in our lives. You know, this is a message for all of us, and, you know, I know you can sometimes, like in these messages, be eyeballing the person, you know, next to you, or like surreptitiously look in the room like, this is for you. But I think this is something for all of us. And if it's not you in a season right now, then be someone that someone can talk to. Are you someone that someone could come up to and be like, hey, if they text you, can I have a conversation with you? Are you someone that will help someone through their stuff? And you don't have to have all of the answers. It's not about having all the answers. It's just about igniting hope and sharing the load. Because even just that start of the conversation is a catalyst for change, and it's not everything. It's the start of the journey. There's going to be more to it. There's going to be, maybe you need to go and get some actual helpful counseling. Maybe you need to cut this person off from you. There's always steps after it, but it's the start of something. And will you be someone that someone could come to and you help carry a load with them? There's a need in all of our lives to have conversations that trigger meaningful change and forward momentum, because talking brings an automatic level of accountability. When you go and go, hey, I'm actually going to talk to someone and confess that I'm thinking like this, or this isn't helpful. And these conversations are guardrails for change. When we have conversations, we have accountability, and accountability is a guardrail for change. And so, yeah, you're still going through it, but not alone. You've got someone that's got your back. You've got hope. And we need to talk, because do you wish to be made well? I hope that was helpful today, and I hope that was said with love and affection and care. I really do. It's my heart for you. We want to see you not stuck in your stuff. And man, this whole thing was me as well. This is me. But then I see firsthand as well, when we get out of our stuff, we can get up off our mat, the amazing freedom that comes with that. It's incredible. So there's a couple of things I want to leave with this morning. Did I write them? Is there another slide? Perfect. So what kind of conversations start for you? What conversation do you need to have? And if you're like, I don't need to have a conversation, I'm all good, then I want you to pray this prayer that's coming up now. It's a psalm. Psalm 139. Search me, God, and know my heart. And maybe take 30 seconds after the service or tonight to pray that prayer. It says, search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there's any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. What a great prayer to pray. Oh, I'm fine. Well, search my heart, oh God. Like, really? Let's test that. And then what conversation do you need to have as well? I hope that you can be brave. I hope that you can take next steps from this. And I hope it's been helpful for you. But I just love to pray for you as we close the service this morning. Jesus, just thank you so much that your heart towards us is never to see us suffer, never see us stuck, never see us immobilized or shut down or in our stuff. But your heart towards us is wholeness and healing, prosperity, God. So I just thank you, Lord, for every single life that's here this morning. God, for the thoughts going through their mind, their heart, the things they're thinking of, God. I just thank you for boldness for those that need to take a step. I pray for strength for those that are already in the midst of something and are having conversations already. I just pray for strength around them. Lord, search our hearts. Search our hearts, oh Lord. Know our hearts. And just thank you, God, that we don't do this alone, that we do this with people like you use people, and we do this with you. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen.